The Phoenicians were a fascinating ancient civilization known for their seafaring and trading skills. They lived along the Mediterranean coast in what is now Lebanon, Israel, and Syria. Their strategic location allowed them to become master traders and colonizers, spreading their influence across the Mediterranean. From the 2nd millennium BCE, they traded various goods, including ivory, wood carvings, and precious metals. Their greatest contribution to history was their alphabet, which laid the foundation for Western languages. The key cities of the Phoenician civilization were Byblos, Tyre, and Sidon, which started forming around 3200 BCE and became prominent by 2750 BCE. These cities were known for their shipbuilding, glassmaking, and the production of dyes, especially the famous Tyrian purple from Tyre. This dye was so important that it gave Phoenicia its name. Neighboring civilizations like Egypt and Mesopotamia also influenced the Phoenicians. Their alphabet, which later influenced the Greek script, originated in Byblos, a major center for papyrus production. The Phoenicians' cultural impact was significant, with their deities influencing Greek mythology. They thrived as a maritime trading power from around 1500 to 332 BCE, their trade routes reaching as far as Britain. They traded linen and papyrus from Egypt, copper from Cyprus, and spices from Arabia. Their expertise in making luxury items like glass and pottery was so renowned that they were credited with inventing glassmaking. Despite their success, the Phoenicians faced challenges due to their lack of political unity, leading to internal conflicts and vulnerability to external conquests. Over time, they came under the control of various empires like the Egyptians, Hittites, Assyrians, Babylonians, Persians, and Greeks. The rise of Alexander the Great marked a turning point as he conquered key Phoenician cities around 332 BCE, leading to the decline of their civilization and ushering in the Hellenistic Age. From their humble beginnings as city-states, the Phoenicians rose to dominate Mediterranean trade, leaving a lasting legacy through their cultural and linguistic contributions. Their story is a testament to the impact of trade and cultural exchange in shaping civilizations. Their decline, amidst the rise of conquering empires, marks the end of an era in ancient history, highlighting the transient nature of power and influence in the ever-changing tapestry of human history. The Phoenicians, who originated from the coastal regions of what is now Lebanon, are celebrated for their extraordinary skills in maritime navigation and shipbuilding. During their golden age, the Phoenicians excelled in designing ships that were not only capable of deep-sea voyages, but also efficient in transporting cargo. These ships facilitated their extensive trade across the Mediterranean, reaching destinations as far-flung as the British Isles and West Africa. Their exceptional seafaring abilities, including the use of stars for navigation, were unparalleled in the ancient world, demonstrating their profound understanding of naval engineering and oceanography. Their trade networks were expansive and sophisticated. Phoenicians traded a diverse array of goods, such as textiles, pottery, glass, and the highly valued Tyrian purple dye. This network spanned the entire Mediterranean, connecting various cultures and economies. In addition to goods, they also traded ideas, significantly contributing to cultural and intellectual exchanges in the ancient world. Their trading activities laid the groundwork for an interconnected Mediterranean economy. They imported and exported a variety of goods, acting as middlemen in trade between various civilizations. This included trading items like papyrus, textiles, metals, and spices, which they could exchange for other valuable commodities like tin or silver, not valued by their producers but highly prized elsewhere. Phoenician colonization was a pivotal part of their expansion, with colonies established throughout the Mediterranean. The most famous of these was Carthage in North Africa, which eventually grew into a powerful city-state itself. These colonies functioned as trading posts, cultural centers, and extensions of Phoenician influence, playing a vital role in spreading their culture and economic dominance. The colonization process began around 1200 BCE, with the first wave primarily establishing trading posts, and evolved into the founding of full colonies by around 800 BCE. Phoenician culture was rich and dynamic, with religion playing a central role in society. Deities like Baal and Astarte were worshipped throughout Phoenicia, and their temples were sites of regular offerings and sacrifices. Religious practices and beliefs spread along with their trade and colonization, especially influencing their greatest colony, Carthage. The Phoenicians, however, didn't have a unified religious text like the Bible. Instead, our knowledge of their religion comes from inscriptions and secondary sources like Plutarch, Lucian, and Philo of Byblos. Each Phoenician city-state had its own chief god and pantheon, although some deities like Astarte were universally worshipped. The Phoenician religious mythology included the creation of the world from the union of wind and desire, and the emergence of humanity from creatures hatched from an egg. In Byblos, for example, Gods like El, Baalat, and Adonis were especially revered. El, akin to the Greek Cronus, was a significant but less actively worshipped deity, while Baalat was associated with earth and fertility, often invoked for successful reigns by kings. In Sidon, Baal was the principal deity, similar in function to El of Byblos. Astarte, also known as Astarte, had numerous temples and was a key figure in inscriptions and art. Eshmun, a god associated with healing, became prominent in Sidon around the 7th century BCE. Tyre's chief god was Melkart, who was considered to represent monarchy, the sea, hunting, and colonization. Melkart was also credited with the discovery of the purple dye from the murex shellfish, a significant source of wealth for the Phoenicians. Phoenician worship included ceremonies at purpose-built temples, as well as natural sacred sites like rivers and mountains. Ceremonies involved prayers, incense, libations, and offerings of animal sacrifices and precious goods. In the case of Astarte, there were traditions like temple prostitution in her honor. During times of crisis, like wars or natural disasters, human sacrifices, often of children, were made, a practice more evident in their colonies than in Phoenicia itself. This society was hierarchical, with the ruling class consisting of affluent merchants and high priests at the top. These elites held significant power, controlling both political and economic activities. Under them were the craftsmen, traders, and common citizens. The Phoenician society was dynamic and allowed for upward social mobility, particularly for successful merchants who could rise to higher social statuses through their commercial achievements. Phoenician art and architecture were remarkable for their exquisite craftsmanship and luxurious materials, which reflected their wealth and extensive trade networks. Their expertise in glassmaking and the production of Tyrian purple dye was renowned. Although their architectural feats weren't as grandiose as those of the Egyptians or Greeks, they were practical and stylish, often blending elements from different cultures they interacted with. This blend of styles showcased their adaptability and the breadth of their trade connections. One of the Phoenicians' most significant contributions to history was the development of the first known alphabet. This alphabet was a phonetic system that used symbols to represent sounds, a major shift from the more complex scripts of their contemporaries. Its simplicity and practicality made it easily adaptable and learnable, revolutionizing communication and record-keeping. The influence of this alphabet extended far beyond Phoenicia, particularly impacting Greek and Roman scripts. Through these adaptations, the Phoenician alphabet laid the foundation for many modern alphabets, leaving an indelible mark on the world's linguistic history. However, the Phoenicians also faced significant challenges and rivalries, particularly with emerging powers like Greece and the Assyrian Empire. These conflicts often revolved around control over lucrative trade routes and regional dominance. The Punic Wars between Rome and Carthage, a major Phoenician colony, were especially notable. These wars demonstrated the military capabilities and strategic prowess of both sides, but ultimately led to Carthage's destruction, marking a crucial point in the decline of Phoenician influence. The fall of the Phoenician civilization was not only due to external conflicts, but also internal issues. Political fragmentation and economic challenges weakened their trade dominance and defense capabilities. The conquests by the Persians and later Alexander the Great further disrupted their trade networks and reduced their political independence. Ultimately, the Phoenicians were assimilated into the cultures of their conquerors, particularly the Greeks and Romans, leading to the loss of their distinct identity. Despite this, the legacy of the Phoenicians, especially in writing and maritime trade, continues to be recognized and celebrated in history. The decline of the Phoenician civilization was also due to internal struggles and external invasions. Battles against powerful Assyrian and Roman fleets, invasions and sieges weakened their cities and colonies. Alexander the Great's conquests were particularly devastating, leading to the loss of Phoenician identity as their colonies became Hellenized. Carthage, one of their largest cities, fell around 146 BC, marking the end of Phoenician resistance against Greek attacks. What aspect of Phoenician history or culture intrigues you the most? Share your thoughts in the comments below, and don't forget to subscribe to our channel for more engaging historical content like this.